Hello everyone. So this is going to be a short supplementary video for my three-part blog series about SpacetimeDB. As I have outlined in the initial blog post, I was quite astonished by the architecture and what this tool might be used in the future, what can be achieved with this quite easily. So I went ahead and tried it out myself, and instead of the initial use case this was built for, namely multiplayer games, MMORPG development, I wanted to try using this to create a collaborative web application, which I built here, which I named SpacetimePDF, which is the first prototype of uploading PDF documents into a session and collaboratively working on it. But before we go into taking a look at the demo, maybe a few suggestions for your development setup, which I started using early on to make my yeah, day-to-day work experience with SpacetimeDB a little bit easier. So let's hop into VS Code here. First of all, I executed the SpacetimeDB inside of a Docker container together with my generally used identity access management solution, Keycloak. And this worked quite well, so I just was able to spin up, delete, and restart this SpacetimeDB container pretty easily. And for the compilation process and generation of the TypeScript module bindings which we use in the client, I found the extension run on save pretty handy, for which I created a mini script that checked for the save process of all .rs files, and then it basically executed the commands for building the project, deleting the old version of the module, publishing it, republishing it to the SpacetimeDB, and then generating the TypeScript module bindings to my client directory. This made it pretty easy, so let's say I had to modify something in my models. I would go into my models Rust file here, do some updates, and then hit save. And then we would see it automatically recompiling, regenerating module bindings, etc. So this is a pretty automated process here, and then I can just go on into my client and then see if the changes did what I wanted it to do. In my blog post, namely the second part, I went over more about the development experience. If you want to get more details about that, feel free to read into it. But yeah, that should be sufficient for the moment. Let's hop into the actual client and see what I built here in pretty much the last 3 weekends. So I'm quite astonished with the limited amount of time I have next to working a full 40-hour work week, right? There's usually not that much time, but I got pretty far with a very limited amount of time. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of where it stands right now. And yeah, let's take a look. So as you can see, I have linked my client to Keycloak. I set up some test users so it's easy to connect to it. Let's log in. And here you can see the landing page with some basic information about the tool. I'm also linking to the presentation I quite liked, and also the homepage, right? And then we can get started and create a new session. You can give it a session name. Let's name it just test1. You can upload a sample form and create a session. Yeah, generally talking about the app, it also supports multi-language support, right? Currently German and English, but it's easy to expand with adding the JSON file for the relevant language, and then we can support more languages easily, and then also a light and a dark mode. Let's join a session. And here you can see already the PDF file loaded. On the left side you can see who's part of the session right now, how many people are part of the session, and then also a chat so you can communicate while editing. And now we can log in with a second user, and then we should see how the real-time syncing works. Let's maybe do this in a split screen. Okay, now let's add Jane Doe. Firstly, let's add her as a viewer. And you can already see immediately the session list updated. She got a toast notification about granted rights to this session, and now she can already join. And now you see the cursors are updated in real time, and everything you can see here is immediately persisted inside the database, which is mind-numbing. And currently, as you can see, Jane is only of the viewer role here, so she cannot edit any of the fields here. She's blocked from editing right now, but we can change that, of course, with the click of a button and make her an editor. And you can see immediately it updated, and now we can modify this, and maybe let's go into the zoom level here further. And you can see immediately it gets updated, and let's go for London with Max here. I think in the light mode, need to change the color coding of some of the input fields still. But in the light mode you can see it better. There's some polishing left to do, right? But you can see generally it works pretty well. And then when we are finished, we can then say download PDF. In this moment, the current values from the form data PDF for this session are fetched from the database. The PDF gets filled with the form data, and then the filled generated PDF will be offered as a download. Let's take a look, and you can see the selection got saved here. Works pretty well. And then if we don't want Jane in our session anymore, we can also remove her from our session, and immediately access gets revoked and she gets returned to the session overview page. Yeah, in the articles I also outline generally how the development process worked. I, for the most part, was only working on the client. All the synchronization headaches was pretty much solved and done by SpacetimeDB, and I was mainly concerned in the last 3 weeks, let's say 80-20, with just the client, making it look good, polishing the UI, making sure there's, for example, those toast notifications, so everything looks and feels professional. And all this synchronization headaches where you would usually spend much more time in the backend, right? Having a messaging system set up, having your backend write to the database, and managing multiple WebSocket connections. Maybe you have multiples, right? A microservice handling the chat, a microservice handling the PDF document updates, right? Here, everything is just handled by SpacetimeDB, and this makes it so much easier to work with. You can move so fast developing such applications using this paradigm. And yeah, I'm very satisfied so far. Of course, you would have to write your module code in either Rust or C#. This is what currently is officially supported, but I can imagine that in the future either the support gets expanded with more languages, or there might be some community-driven support that adds support for TypeScript on the backend, etc. So yeah, let's see how it develops further. It's still relatively early, right? I think they're currently on version 1.1. Many nice, awesome things to come here, I imagine. Yeah, last but not least, would I recommend using this right now in a production environment? Unfortunately, the answer as of today is no, given that for the OIDC providers, there's currently no way you can define which are valid OIDC providers, token issuers, and which are invalid. So yeah, there's no filtering going on the backend. So if some malicious client comes in with a login attempt from another issuer, which is not from us, he could theoretically generate an identity and log in as well, because we cannot say, hey, issuer Google.com is valid, and issuers coming from whatever Yahoo.com tokens issued from that URL, from that domain, are invalid. We cannot do that right now. We had some tech discussions in the official SpacetimeDB Discord for that, and apparently this is coming soon. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, here, not currently. This is one of the upcoming features with regards to the OIDC JWT. You will be able to access the issuer claim directly allowing you to check if it is not from your side, you throw an exception, and they will not connect. Yeah, so this is currently still missing, which is why I would currently not recommend using this in production. Um, you can pre-filter it right in your own client, but let's say some malicious actor creates his own client, they could theoretically generate a valid identity for your database, right? So there might be some malicious actor getting access. So this is something I'm currently still waiting on. And yeah, for the general roadmap, I would now like to support more form fields like radio buttons, and also making users able to generate valid signature fields, and maybe also have the toolbar expand with some on the fly menu options like a note you can add to the PDF, right? A note field where you can make uh, text comments, something like that. And then, of course, more accessibility features, tab navigation, making sure the screen reader works properly. So there's um, good support for disabled people as well, and then maybe adding some more languages. And then I could see this becoming a reasonable, valid product in the future, for sure, because you can discuss and fill out forms together, make valid signatures, and then download the finished PDF. Yeah, as mentioned, if you want to take more of a deep dive, make sure to check out my website's blog. Read through the three-part series, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or via email. I hope you had fun listening. Thanks for your attention. Goodbye.